You guys probably know by now that I am a big fan of absolutely breaking the game during leagues. Bam. And doing things in really unorthodox ways, which is actually what this video is about. I want to prove to you guys that you can trivialize a lot of the endgame content in this league by simply using Guthans. The first step is to have Guthans, which I don't have, so I will be right back. That wasn't too bad at all. That was a lot faster than Darroch. Now that that's done, let's quickly go over a few things. In order for this to work, the only things you absolutely need to have are the melee masteries, a Guthans set, and the Gloves of the Damned from the Echo Grotesque Guardians. In case you guys are wondering what those actually do, they make the Guthans healing set go off 50% of the time. I saw UIM Verf messing around with it, and it really inspired me to try some stuff out because it looked super fun. Now let's talk about endgame in old school RuneScape. Most people immediately bring up one place when you say endgame, and that is the Inferno. So let's start there and see if we can just trivialize it, making it brain dead easy. Now, in addition to the stuff I mentioned earlier, I would obviously recommend having Banker's Note, but believe it or not, in some of the places I'm going to talk about, you actually won't need it. Guthans will do most of the heavy lifting, but for Inferno specifically, make sure you have a ranged or mage switch for Zuck, because your Guthans is not going to reach there, and you probably don't want to do triple Jads with it either. Now let me say right off the rip, I am thoroughly impressed. Guthans on its own does not sound impressive, but then when you make the heal effect 50% thanks to the Gloves of the Damned, and then on top of that you add in the extra accuracy and the extra attack speed from the melee masteries, and you are constantly healing. And you're not even hitting that poorly either. I wasn't even potted for the vast majority of this, and it really was not that big of a problem. Now let me show you one example of what I mean when I say this makes the Inferno easy. I am not trying to solve this wave. I literally ran out to just smack the nibblers with Guthans. I am tanking this bat and I am tanking this meleeer with no problem. And then once they die, I am literally just face tanking the mage too. I am not moving out of it so that I don't get meleeed. I am letting it attack me with melee and just out healing whatever damage it is outputting, which is crazy. Now this is the one time, and I'm not even exaggerating, the one time I ate Krombwans during the entire cave, and it's because I ran out without Prey Mage on, which was simply me being stupid, and even then, I didn't even really need to eat these Krombwans, because I can just do exactly what I'm about to do here, which is also walk out without Prey Mage on again like an idiot, and just face tank everything, and just hit it and heal, and it's just not a problem. Guthans is actually so strong. It is so broken, and I love it. And here it is, Wave 63, what many people regard as the most difficult wave in the Inferno, 2 blobs, a major, a ranger, and a meleeer. My spawn was pretty decent here, I just had the 2 blobs on me, but I said screw it, I'm just going to go over here and face tank this ranger, while praying against the mage. And as you can see, it doesn't matter. I took some damage that I can just immediately heal back up. Seriously, I cannot emphasize how much fun it is to use this set. And if you are someone like me who just does not like certain pieces of content like the Inferno, seriously, Guthans is the answer, man. It is so busted. And here it is, the end of Wave 67. Up until this point, I literally just used prayer potions and I think 2 fish. That's it. This is what I mean when you do not need Banker's Note here. You can definitely take some brews and restores if you're worried. Don't eat the pillar like I just did there, but that trivializes all of the waves of the Inferno up to Jad. Now, obviously, on Jad, you probably don't want to use Guthans because it can still one-hit you, and on triple Jads, you don't want to because it can one-hit you and you will off-tick it. But getting through waves 1 to 67 means you get plenty of practice on Zuck. Also, if you're a melee relic, you're going to hear me suggest this a few times throughout the video. I would strongly recommend getting a Noxious Halberd, because look how busted this is. I can actually out-damage the Inferno Jads. Like, I don't have to worry about their healers. You don't have to worry about clicking the healers. You can just purely focus on your overheads, and boom, that's Jad 1 already dead. And I'm just going to do the same thing and clean up these other 2 as well. Alright, there you go. I mean, like, is just that 51 minutes? Really? 51 minutes using Guthans. That's insane. You know, the main problem with leagues is that I get way too into it. Like, you know, you stay up a little too long and suddenly you just start hallucinating. Like, I'm looking over the wall right now, and I swear there are RuneScape items just staring back at me. Beautiful. Three-dimensional items. That would be the perfect gift for yourself or a friend this holiday season. That's right, this video is sponsored by the one and only Creator Crafted. In case you guys somehow haven't heard of them, Creator Crafted sells RuneScape-related signs, mouse pads, posters, and even incredible things like plushies. Now, you've probably heard of them before, but this is the best time to check them out because it's my ad and you'll support me. But no, for real. It's because there's a holiday sale going on right now, and products are going to sell out super, super fast, just like they always do if you're not quick on the trigger. And if it's been a while since you checked them out, there are tons of new releases and things that are always coming out that I just keep missing on buying out for myself because I'm just a little too slow to pick them up before they sell out. Everything is super high quality, and the stuff I've gotten from them has really livened up my gaming space. Seriously though, don't just take my word for it. Let's hear some testimonies from all the other people who bought products from this site. Yeah, what do you mean we don't have them in person? So what? It's 3 a.m. Call them anyway. Alright, so apparently it's not ethical to wake people up at 3 a.m. to get their in-person testimony, but there are loads of 5-star reviews on all of the products for a reason. Like, seriously, do not miss out and use my code GAMERS10 or click the link in the description to get an additional 10% off on top of the already site-wide holiday sale for the next 7 days. Buying anything using my link helps support me directly so I can spoil my wife this Christmas, so, you know, just saying. Next up is the normal mode Theater of Blood, but here's the kicker. We're going to be doing this one solo. It's just over a 50% drop rate on leagues to get a purple, and there are a few places here where Guthans can definitely come in clutch. I would recommend Banker's Note for this place if you have it, as well as a Noxious Halberd like I mentioned earlier. They both make things a lot easier, but neither are necessarily mandatory. You're just going to have a harder time without them. Now first off, we have the Maiden. Guthans actually does work really well here, and as you can see, it can actually even out-heal the blood splats on the ground. The problem is, the boss also out-heals me from those blood splats on the ground. So essentially, you're just wasting time and a ton of prayer because it also leeches your prayer. Would not recommend standing in that. You might as well move out of the way. That being said, you can completely ignore the crabs. You do not have to kill them, you do not have to freeze them, just ignore them. Let the boss heal from it. It's not going to change anything. The amount of damage you take is not going to be higher than the amount of damage you heal. Just move out of the bloods. That's it. This one is pretty easy. Now here's the big question. Can you do what I'm doing right here, click the bloat even while it's walking, and just fully AFK? The answer is technically no. Now, if you got very lucky and your Guthans was constantly max hitting and constantly healing you, it could work. But I tried this 5 or 6 different times, tried it with a Blood Fury, tried it with a Salve, tried it with the Amulet of the Monarchs. I tried all of it, and it always ended the same way, which was my last stand proccing. I almost made it through here, and this was my closest attempt, but there's really no reason to do this. It does not give you that much damage. You're better off just doing the fight normally and using a different weapon to do damage faster. Unfortunate reality, though very expected with Nilos, is you obviously can't just Guthans your way through this room because you can't hit 2/3 of the enemies at any given time with melee. That being said, in a solo, all you really have to do is pick one pillar and protect it, and just run around the room to keep your distance from the remaining ones that are aggroing you as the other pillars fall so they don't blow up on you. This is one of those rooms where Banker's Note is definitely helpful, so you can just spam eat the hell out of your food while running around. As for the boss, same as always, multiple attack styles. That being said, if you're newer, you can just sit there in your Guthans and focus on your overheads, only hitting it when it's during its melee phase. Now, Soditseg was actually the biggest curveball for me, and it's because, for some reason, Guthans does not work in here. I don't know why. The melee combat mastery and Blood Fury still heal you, but Guthans doesn't. I would definitely recommend using a Noxious Halberd or even a Dragon Halberd here and standing one tile at range, but if you don't have it, you can do what I'm doing here and just stand in melee, smack it with Guthans. It's really not a big deal. As for the maze, well, again, let's just say Banker's Note is pretty helpful here. Just try to make sure when you get to the other side, you don't immediately stand in melee range of the boss, so he doesn't smack you and potentially combo you out. Now, time for, unironically, the hardest room in ToB, which is Zarpus. If you're experienced with the proper melee movement here from the main game, it's really no different, but if you're not, you have to be really careful. This works very similar to the Flies on Bloat, where sometimes it'll heal you up enough, but sometimes it won't, and the poison will out-damage your healing. So my recommendation here is, if you ever see yourself get below 50 HP, just move to a safe tile and keep hitting the boss. It should be fine. I've gotten through this multiple times doing it this way. No problems. And if somehow you run out of tiles, hit it from a distance or use your halberd. Last, and actually the easiest boss in ToB thanks to Guthans, is Verzik. Now phase 1 is absolutely my favorite, because you can actually just completely AFK. You just have to pray mage, and Guthans will easily out-heal any damage the boss does to you. I would still recommend using the Dawnbringer specs to make this way faster, but honestly, you don't even have to do that. Phase 2 still requires you to not sit in melee distance or you'll get bounced around. Another place where a halberd is helpful, or if you're comfortable doing the proper cycle, Guthans will easily keep you full health here. It's not too bad. Even if you mess up, Guthans will heal you through it. Don't worry too much about it. And the final phase is also very funny because, aside from the special mechanics, you can just stand here and pray melee. Just like phase 1, you don't have to do anything. I would still recommend moving out of the way of crabs, and you should still stand in the yellow circles when they spawn, but you can just pray melee, and as you see, pretty easily out-heal whatever damage the boss is doing to you. Now, as for sub 20% when the tornadoes come out, it is probably possible to just sit there and eat the tornado and keep hitting the boss. The thing is, the tornado, just like the blood on Maiden, heals the boss, so there's really not a whole lot of point to doing this. I would recommend just dodging it. Guthans will still keep you full health while you're dodging it, and just killing the boss without eating the tornado and making it pointlessly take longer. And boom, there's solo ToB. Now you might not get it on your first try because it's not 100% free, but a lot of the mechanics become really arbitrary when you're just constantly healing back to full health. Alright, the last one on my list and everybody's least favorite boss, the Nightmare. Now I'm not going to do Fasani because trying to eat damage on Fasani is just generally a bad idea. You won't be able to. But I want to see if you can just more or less AFK normal Nightmare. And by AFK, I obviously mean very low effort and don't dodge most of the mechanics because actually AFKing would be stupid. Do we even have to move? I don't think I'd even have to move for that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't think I even need to move for that. I can just stand here. Well, it's pretty much everything I hoped for. You can put basically zero effort into this and very easily kill the Nightmare solo. I would still recommend following mechanics like this one because some mechanics are meant to kill you if you're in the wrong spot and Guthans won't fix that. There is also one other thing that is kind of a problem on this fight, and I'm not sure why it happens. Much like Soditseg, you cannot heal off of these pillars with Guthans. Now you still can with the Blood Fury, you still can with the melee combat mastery, but for some reason, Guthans just doesn't work on these. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because they're not labeled as having actual health, and Guthans is based on enemies with health. I'm not entirely sure, but that's really the only place where it doesn't work here. If you pay attention for a couple of seconds and put your proper prayers on here, or just eat a couple of food, you'll be fine though. I mean, that felt pretty trivial to me. Most of the actual mechanics you can just straight up sit there and heal through. So yeah, I would argue that this definitely works here. Also, is that going to be the GM time? That's also the GM speed time. Like, easily, holy, that's a lot of tasks. That's easily the GM speed time. And just a reminder to make sure you guys check out Creator Craft using the link down below and use my code GAMERS10 to get an additional 10% off on top of their holiday-wide site sale. Seriously, these guys give me a really good cut, and it's a really good company with really good products, so go check them out. Well, I hope this is something you guys enjoyed. I know it's definitely different to the normal type of Leagues video, but you guys seem to like the Darroch one, which was also kind of different to the normal Leagues video, so I figured I'd try it out. Also, keep in mind that I didn't show things like fight caves and whatnot in this video because it was supposed to be about specifically like the elite endgame content. Guthans does make stuff like this obviously ridiculously trivial in the sense that I'm pretty sure I could actually just stand up and walk away from my computer for 15 to 20 minutes at a time if I'm in the fight caves. I might even be able to straight up AFK Jad because of the Last Stand relic. So, yeah, that's kind of nuts. So if you have an interest in AFKing and you have these regions, I would definitely get Guthans. It's very fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you leave a like, share the video around if you have anyone who might be interested in this. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.